All right, we're 2 minutes after the hour. To be mindful of time, I think it's smart to get started. My name is Ryan Tolson. I lead the commercial team at Esgian Offshore Wind. I see a number of folks still logging on here. Some of the names I recognize. Some are prospects, some are clients, many new names as well, and even a competitor or two. So I want to thank everyone for attending. For those of you that do not know, Esgian, we're headquartered in Oslo, Norway, and we are a market intelligence and data analysis firm specifically for the ocean industries. We operate in 3 primary segments. That's offshore rigs, shipping, and offshore wind. My focus is 100% offshore wind, and today we speak on offshore wind. Each month, we host a short webinar that covers a current and relevant offshore wind topic. We do our very, very best to keep these to 19 minutes, and we do that on purpose. We understand time is precious, and we want to provide the most value without a huge commitment to all the attendees here. But if you haven't already, I encourage you to follow Esgian Offshore Wind on LinkedIn, and also sign up for our newsletter. Within LinkedIn, you will get periodic updates on the market. With our newsletter, you will be informed of all future events that we are hosting, including our quarterly market update. But within Esgian Offshore Wind, we offer a subscription-based data platform that provides transparency and clarity into the global offshore wind market. You can see what is planned in the future by country, but you can also see which developers are bidding into each project. We have a complete list of all offshore wind projects from conception through operational. We're following tier 1 equipment contracts and vessel contracts, a complete vessel database, a complete database on all factories and what they are manufacturing, and a floating technology database, plus so much more. Our clients that use this database are primarily developers, vessel companies, companies within the supply chain, consultancies, and these clients are using our database for business development. Where are the future opportunities? Also competitive analysis and strategic analysis. And everything that we cover in today's discussion has been derived from our database. And today we will discuss the in offshore wind. As we all know, China tends to be a black box for most people, and we hope to provide some insight today in the Chinese offshore wind market. And with that being said, I'd like to hand it over to my colleague, Hiro. He covers the Asian market within our offshore wind team, and he'll take it from here. So Hiro, take it away.
Thank you, Ryan. Just to begin, Chinese offshore wind ambitions are huge, and the market is highly competitive as there is a large number of suppliers and operators competing among each other. China has successfully established a large-scale industrial supply chain for the offshore wind industry. The scale of this supply chain cannot be compared anywhere else in the world. To date, China has 132 operational wind farms with a total capacity of roughly 34 gigawatts, and more are on the way. This capacity has been achieved over the last few years, with the extensive Chinese supply chain playing a key role in enabling the installation of so much capacity in such a short time span. Like I said, operational 132 projects with a total capacity of roughly 34 gigawatts. Installation underway, 18 projects with a total capacity of roughly 6 gigawatts. Contracted 37 projects with a total capacity of roughly 18 gigawatts, and lease awarded 24 projects with a capacity of 12 gigawatts. Most of these projects are due for COD in 2024. However, we don't expect that all of this capacity will be fully connected to the grid by the end of this year. Nevertheless, a large amount of capacity will find its way to the Chinese grid. An exceptional amount of capacity for 2024 is estimated, and we do expect this trend to continue in the coming years. We can anticipate somewhat higher numbers in 2025, as it's likely that capacity will be pushed to the next year. The expectation is that 2024 will be a record year when it comes to connecting large capacity of offshore wind for Chinese projects. China's goal is to exceed 60 gigawatt as defined in the 14th five-year plan, which expands from 2021 to 2025. Over the next 2 years, Chinese projects will be geared toward meeting this timeframe and targets. While 2024 seems to be the year that most of the projects will achieve COD, it's likely that many of the projects expected for 2024 will be pushed into 2025. The main goal is to achieve the target set in the five-year plan, rather than simply achieving COD by the end of the year. There's a growing demand for Chinese foundations in Europe, and we have seen a yearly increase in volume. However, the number of contracts has not increased for the past 2 years. There have been only 2 contracts each year. Nevertheless, 2024 has the potential to see both higher volumes and more contracts. Some wind projects seems more likely than others. Jacket foundations are always a strong type for Chinese manufacturers, so it could very well be that both B&C Wind in Poland and Esgian 1A in UK will award a Chinese manufacturer. For monopiles, we have recently seen that it has become more popular to acquire Chinese monopiles. The majority of the bulk already ordered from China has been from RWE. So there could be a pattern here where RWE wants to order more for their projects, giving Hollandse Kust West 7 and Dunkirk hopes for a Chinese manufacturer for that job. This year, we have already seen a double monopile contract for Inchcap in the UK. The contract is split between 2 different Chinese manufacturers. The demand for cables for offshore wind in the European market has not been as pressing as it has been for other types of manufacturing goods. The European market has good access to cable manufacturers, as well as finding it difficult to compete on price for cables. Lower price from China are offset by higher transport costs. Yet, the European market has recently seen cable contracts from China awarded for the German project Genaki and the Polish project Baltica 2. Like the rest of the Chinese market, the Chinese turbine manufacturers have also experienced rapid growth in developing their turbines. Over the past few years, we have witnessed a transition from 5 megawatt turbines to the introduction of 20 megawatt turbines for the market. It needs to be noted that these announcements of large turbines are more about flexing muscles than anything else, as the Chinese domestic market typically employs 8 megawatt and 10 megawatt turbines for the upcoming project. However, it's needless to say that, of course, Chinese projects do utilize 30 megawatt, 160 megawatt, and so on, but the general trend is 8 megawatt and 10 megawatt. These large turbines are intended for export market, as China's turbine manufacturers gear up for other markets. And again, 20 megawatts thus now are the key turbine model to export. It's a range between 12 to 16 and maybe 18, which will compete against non-Chinese turbine manufacturers. Among Chinese turbine manufacturers, Mingyang has been the most active in expanding to other markets. For example, Mingyang has been actively probing new markets, especially in Brazil and the European market. In Brazil, Mingyang have established a foothold for a couple of years now, where it acts as a developer for the PCAM project and has also applying for building a factory in the country. This strategy mirrors their approach in Norway, where they position themselves as a developer for the Sørlige Nordsjø II bid. And if if they were successful, which they were not, they could further establish themselves by building a factory in Norway, thus gaining a foothold in the European market. Additionally, Mingyang turbines are operational on the Italian project Bellico, and they have secured a contract for the floating project in the UK, Twin Hub. Further, the South Korean market has been attractive for certain parts of the Chinese supply chain, especially turbine manufacturers. Mingyang has established a firm partnership with the Korean company Yunsun, which is also a turbine manufacturer. This joint venture allows Mingyang to enter the South Korean market and can serve as a springboard to other markets. Furthermore, by Yunsun holding Mingyang's hand, Yunsun is planning to build additional manufacturing capacity in South Korea. Other Chinese turbine manufacturers that have expanded into South Korean market include Goldwind and Shanghai Electric, both of which are involved in South Korea, a promising market, especially for the Chinese supply chain. Moreover, Mingyang won a small but significant contract for a Japanese project, Toyama Newson, where it supplied 3 3-megawatt turbines. It is also worth mentioning that for the same project, the foundations was manufactured by a Chinese manufacturer. Vietnam should not be excluded, as this offshore wind market has utilized a variety of turbine manufacturers from China, as well as other suppliers. Overall, this shows that the Chinese are active in supplying markets that are in need. China has a large fleet with relatively well-equipped vessels, and it's believed that Chinese vessel companies have a total of over 17 heavy lift vessels and over 27 jackup vessels with a crane capacity exceeding 1,200 metric tons. Chinese vessel companies have expressed the sentiment that Chinese vessel operators are not likely to operate outside of China, and that non-Chinese vessels are 10 years ahead, which could very well be the case. Yet, considering that recently 2 South Korean companies have chosen Chinese vessel companies for offshore installation, marking a new shift in the vessel market. This will change how non-Chinese vessel operators view the APIC market. A threat like someone would look at Chinese vessels working outside of China is very real. First of all, close to all new builds are built in China, with a few exceptions. The Chinese have learned how to build these competitive vessels and have built similar class vessels for themselves. They will use domestic components and equipment which might set them apart. However, this will be revealed when these vessels work outside of China, head-to-head with non-Chinese vessels. Daewoo Engineering and Construction signed a vessel reservation agreement with China Communications Construction Company, or better known as CCCC. This agreement marks a new shift in offshore wind when it comes to vessel contracting, as non-Chinese vessels have been expected to be used in the APIC region. However, as they are few in numbers and increasingly high in day rates, South Korean companies have seen Chinese vessels as an option. And for those that thought this was a one-time occurrence, couldn't be more wrong, as a second South Korean company chose a Chinese company for hiring a vessel or vessels. An MOU was signed between the South Korean company Korean Offshore Technology and the Chinese company CTT regarding Korean Offshore Technology reserving 5 vessels from CTT for work in South Korea. Korean Offshore Technology is affiliated with the South Korean company POSCO, which is a well-known industrial company in South Korea, as well as no stranger to offshore wind. CTT is one of the largest Chinese cable manufacturers, but the company has tentacles in several value chains in the offshore wind industry. The ships reserved for South Korea are of high quality as well as very new, as Shangtian 39 and Shangtian 31 is no more than 2 years old. And these 2 vessels I just mentioned is looked as a very capable vessels. What we are noticing in China is significant. for the offshore wind industry because China has been more or less closed off from the rest of the market, and potentially adding a fraction of their supply chain to the rest of the market will have major impact. Price, of course, have been very important for developing offshore wind as it has been more expensive of doing so lately. China are able to compete on price, which make them more attractive in markets outside China, especially important for small projects and second-tier developers. 3 key takeaways from this webinar is growing demand for Chinese foundations in Europe, contrast with limited contract growth in recent years. Chinese turbine manufacturers have rapidly developed their technology, transitioning from 5 megawatt to 20 megawatt turbines. Recent choice by South Korean firms to select Chinese vessel operators mark a pivotal shift in the market. Thank you very much for listening in, and I give it back to you, Ryan.
Excellent. Thank you, Hero. That was a lot of information in a short period of time. If you do have questions, I see a couple coming through already. Please type them into the Q&A section. We'll do our best efforts to get to them. But while the questions are coming through, I have a few items I'd like to just touch on real quick. Both Hero, myself, and a few others from our team will be in Bilbao next week for Wind Europe. If you would like to meet in person, feel free to shoot me an email. We can schedule a meeting or swing by our stand. We'll be within a Team Norway pavilion at the Bilbao conference. For those of you that have not signed up for our mailing list and follow us on LinkedIn, I got the QR codes right here. So feel free to take a picture of them and open up and sign up for our mailing list and LinkedIn. Like I mentioned in the beginning, you will be updated on all future events, and you will also get the quarterly update and news updates on LinkedIn. Anyone that would be interested, I'm more than happy to offer a no strings attached demonstration of the Esgian Wind Analytics database. Everything that Hero discussed today has been brought from the database. So more than happy to go through a no strings attached demonstration there. And let's see if we have any additional questions. The first one, not necessarily pertinent to this discussion, but where is the US in comparison of the offshore wind market? Hero, I know that's not necessarily your focus area. Do you have any comments on the US at all?
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
Yep. So
in general, I would say in general, US is picking up the pace and are getting turbines on the water and foundations, which is a very, very good start compared to a lot of other countries. So, yeah.
No, excellent. Thanks, Hero. And that was Michael that asked that question. I'm more than happy to pull up some data on a one-on-one discussion and show you where the US stands with the data that we have. So more than happy to do that. The second question I have is, what are the typical costs of building and operating some of the installation vessels? It's a loaded question, but do you have any insight on that, Hero?
Yeah, I can come back to Michael on this question, and then I can give him a better answer.
Fantastic. And the last comment that we had was, will we share the slides from this presentation? We absolutely can share the slides. If you do not receive them, we will do our best to follow up with everyone on this webinar with the slides, but feel free to shoot me an email and I'll be sure to get you a copy of the slides. We can also have we have recorded this and can share the recording as well. So with that being said, let's see, actually, yes, got another question here, or a couple more. How much of the Chinese market supply chain is sourced from outside of China? Are there any expectations for change to this figure? And what would the driving factors be?
Okay, so I think the question is that how much of non-domestic manufacturing that comes outside of China into China.
Yes.
That's very, very little now. It was more before when Siemens Gamesa and Vestas used to win contracts in China, but now it's basically nothing. See a couple of vessel contracts here and there, maybe. See some one in 2020 or 2021, I think, but it's very little. It's basically zero.
Fantastic. And a second question, or another question here is, in slide 3, how did you select which projects are opportunities for Chinese manufacturers?
Yeah. So basically what I chose the project that hadn't been awarded any contracts yet or foundation contract yet, which is up to getting, or I believe in this year will award a contract. So it's just a prospect list really, where Chinese and European manufacturers are probably standing in line and trying to win these contracts. Just a good
Excellent.
prospect of what you can maybe think will win Chinese contracts.
Excellent. I've got a couple more coming through here, Hero. China's offshore wind turbines were averagely smaller, like 6 to 8 megawatts previously, as developers were rushing to commission before the central level subsidy. How do you think of the larger size of turbines into commercial scale in the future into China?
Good question. What we see in now from today to 2025 of the 14th 5-year plan, we see a big portion of 8 megawatts and 10 megawatts. Some 13, 12, 11, of course, and even a couple of 16. And of course, it was and I guess also with regards of how to get these big turbines up and installed in there. China do really get or have better vessels than from 2021 when you are speaking of the rush. But yeah, you're totally right. It will be a rush these 2 years as they had to double the capacity than they have today. So I hope that answered your question.
Yep.
But after that, after this 5-year plan with the new 15th, I will definitely believe we will see bigger turbines.
Fantastic, Hero. A couple more coming through. With the shortage of installation vessels for the EU market, is there a risk that Chinese installation vessels might enter the market?
Yeah, I can come back to you with that one. Short answer, not right away, but of course they will be competitive, at least in South Korea, maybe other places in the APEC region as well. We will see, maybe, but I can come back to you with a better answer.
Do you think Europe will increase the local content requirement in the future to enhance its development in the local supply chain? How would this challenge Chinese suppliers' attempt to enter Europe?
Yeah, I need to come back to you.
Yep. Mocha, we will address all of these questions directly afterwards as well. All right. Are the Chinese building any floating offshore wind projects?
Yes, they are definitely doing so. Not in necessarily in large number, but they do building a couple of projects. Have commissioned one last year. They commissioned at least one, if not more. And of course, there are some project in the prospect or there are prospects or yeah. So not too many. A lot of fixed, but yeah, there are floating too.
That's to add on to that, Hero. Michael, within our database, you can filter out any country you want, filter out the project status, and you can filter out if they're floating or fixed projects as well. So it's very, very simple and easy to show in the database, and more than happy to share that with you. Another one, how will CBAM impact Chinese supply into EU?
I had to come back to him.
Yep. Okay. This might be the last one, unless more come through. What are the environmental hurdles, if any, for the Chinese in building offshore wind projects?
And I had to come back to.
Yep. So we don't have the answers to everything, but it would be very, very nice to have a one-on-one discussion with those that would like more insights into China or any other markets. We're more than happy to have those discussions with. We have a couple more trickling through here. I think the last one, how much are the Chinese expanding their port facilities for offshore wind projects?
I can give him a good question answer later.
Yep. So we are starting to track ports in our database. We'll just have to pull it up and quickly assess the ports that are in China and how much are growing there. So we have that at a click of a button within our database. So I want to thank everyone for attending today. I hope you found it beneficial. We do try to keep these to 19 minutes. We had a number of questions today, so we did go over, but hopefully you found the time useful, and we look forward to seeing you next month on our next webinar. And I hope to see those that will be in Bilbao at the Bilbao conference next week. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.